The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, did the government leave thousands of civil servants high and dry after delaying payment that was promised on September 1st to December 1st? This issue had varying responses on social media today, with union leaders also threatening action. So what is the real story? Also tonight, a mother is calling for help after her school-age son was struck in the head by one of his peers. We hear the story coming up. And a 36-year-old man in prison tonight after flashing a woman, then stealing $10 from her. It's all straight ahead this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, the plan was to review the entire salary scale of the public service, thousands of workers making up senior and junior staff. The first time in 14 years. You will remember Prime Minister Davis saying when he made the announcement in 2022, this task was to ease the burden due to the cost of living and reward public officers as they deserve, something they've waited for 14 years. While the senior element of the public services review has been completed and they have been paid retroactively in July of this year, the junior staff in the public service, who too had their reviews done and completed only recently, were not paid on September 1st as promised. Instead, the payment to thousands of public service employees will happen in December. Now, for many, this was where the confusion comes in. Why the delay? And according to some, they were under the impression that their pay too would be retroactive to 2024 fiscal year. Well, we're going to get to the bottom of this for you. Let's start first by trying to understand what the Prime Minister said initially. I spoke with Prime Minister Davis last evening on this matter and was told that workers will be paid in December. The Prime Minister said that he's very happy to bring about a certain level of ease in the middle of what is still an unprecedented inflation, not just here in the Bahamas, but around the world. And that what pleases him more than anything is that this increase and right sizing of the public service salaries is outside of union agreements and increments by way of those agreements. And so tonight, we begin with the Bahamas Public Services Union's perspective. Here's Delano Roca.
Industrial action could be on the horizon for public servants, as president of the Bahamas Public Service Union, Kimsley Ferguson, stated their dissatisfaction with the announcement of wage increase delays to December 2025, calling it unacceptable and a direct impact on the lives of workers. He further argues that the release on the delays leaves more questions about who will be getting what.
I want to send a clarion call to all public servants that have been impacted by this exercise, who were expecting today to receive additional funding to their salary. Stand by, there will be some action taken.
Labour Minister Pia Glover-Roll quick to provide some insight on the delays, attributing it to the Ministry of Finance. But Ferguson is also questioning the entire process.
It was initially indicated by the Minister and the Prime Minister in the House of Assembly that middle management would receive some monies and the lower end would receive between 3 to 8%. Again, there is no clarity on who is who, because there are other unions that have members of their bargaining unit that are categorized as mid-management that haven't received anything as yet. And so again, there's no clarity on what the definitive amount should be for persons who should be receiving between 3 to 8%.
While acknowledging the setback, Glover-Roll highlighted the small senior groups due for payment in September 2024, which had been delayed to July of 2025, that had been processed. Despite concerns from the BPSU, the minister also noted the government's track record, showcasing their promise on the matter.
This is a Ministry of Finance project. The Ministry of Finance has conducted a salary review, and the salary review is complete. It actually encompasses a few thousand public servants. The technicalities of what transpired in terms of a little delay in the payment, you would have to find out from the Ministry of Finance.
Have agitated, done inquiries, and she maintained her stance that she don't know what is going on. And like they bang on the table in the House of Assembly, she was one that caused them to bang on the table. Well, the union is very concerned. We are of the view that the government is trying to have a one-up on unions and cause the workers of this country to see unions as irrelevant. It will never happen.
Glover Roll reinforced the government's commitment to elevating the public service wages to meet those of regional benchmarks, stating that while challenges remain, the administration is committed to progress.
Prior to this, there's been no increase for public servants since 2016. So we're happy to be able to do what we can to improve the conditions for our public servants. In this instance, this is bringing their salaries in line, according to the Ministry of Finance, with their counterparts in the region.
They were expecting today. We are disappointed. And I want to say to my members, these are the same persons that are going to knock on your door and ask for your support. My advice is treat them the way they treated you.
Delana Roker, Eyewitness News.
Well, joining me this evening is Minister of the Public Service, Pia Glover-Roll. Good evening to you, Minister Glover-Roll. It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining me here on Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening, Shanique. It's good to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
I want to jump right in because how did this become so skewed? How did this become something that you heard the union president there, Kingsley Ferguson? He says this is the government trying to one-up the union. I mean, what are you all, is this what you're doing, trying to show the union up somehow?
Shanique, absolutely not. And I'm not entirely sure. I quite don't understand why industrial action would be initiated in response to something that is fundamentally a goodwill gesture by the government. The salary adjustment exercise wasn't the result of union negotiation, but in fact, it was an initiative that's been undertaken by the government to improve compensation for our workers, to improve the working conditions for public servants, and it's intended to uplift, not to cause discord. So I find it even more perplexing considering that the union met with the Ministry of Finance just last week on Tuesday, the 16th of September. The salary review was one of the main agenda items. And after that meeting, the president of the Congress, which is the BNATUC, actually sent me some notes from the meeting and submitted a follow-up written request for a comprehensive review of the salary report and some other additional information. The Ministry of Public Service is also awaiting this comprehensive report. So from my understanding, I was not in attendance at that meeting. The meeting was chaired by Minister Alcides, but the process would have been clearly and strategically outlined to the union. And I understand, excuse me, Mr. Ferguson spoke about clarity, but any questions or clarification needed should have been raised during that meeting. So any items that aren't addressed at the moment, I presume the responses are pending from the Ministry of Finance, but I don't see where there's any disregard or disrespect of the union, because given all this, the rationale behind industrial action at this stage is unclear to me. I don't understand.
I mean,
because this isn't a case of broken promises, Shanique, or failed negotiations.
Right.
This is a progressive move by the Davis administration, by the government of the Bahamas, to close a very long-standing gap in salaries and to show respect and bring our public servants in line with their counterparts in quasi-government
agencies that earn, right. And I want to talk about the fact that this exercise is being duplicated or perhaps mirrored almost in every nation in the region. But I want to talk about the fact that what the intent was. One, it was the Ministry of Finances, meaning the Office of the Prime Minister's initiative. He wanted to ensure, as far as I can understand it, and I've been, as you heard me say, I spoke with him last evening. I was fortunate to be able to do so for like 3 minutes, but just to get an understanding. And then, of course, I followed up with union presidents and other persons. Listen, help me understand this. What it is, the bottom of the whole thing is, quasi-government workers earn significantly more than those who are in the public service proper. And this,
Absolutely.
And this exercise, done and carried out, this review, by the way, by an independent outside accounting body, to be able to properly ensure that what is being done will be right and be the right thing to do, and that this was again to sort of have them match up and be able to cope in these inflation
Shanique.
periods.
It's an improvement for our workers. We are, as an administration, doing all we can, not in one area, but from multiple facets. We are doing what we can to help close the gap, to help our citizens with cost of living. This is just another facet of us attempting to do what we can to put more in the pockets of our citizens. We are in a global hyperinflation economy where the Bahamas is a consumer. So, of course, the cost of living here is higher as a consumer nation. We're even looking at trade diversification as ways to close the gap. But this is just another means by which we are engaging to try and assist the workers of our country, in this instance, public servants. And this isn't the first instance of us assisting in terms of trying to close the gap for public servants. I know there's been the question of the two groupings. So, Shanique, the first grouping that would have received their payments is the smaller middle management group.
Right.
Those persons have never received an assessment to their or review to their salary scales.
So you're saying it's always been the unionized line staff of the public service?
It's always been this larger group that will be affected in December. It's always been them, whether it's through the minimum wage increase that would have happened in 2022, whether it would have been through the service-wide promotions in 2023, negotiations through their bargaining units, promotions, reclassifications, anything that is upgraded due to them getting degrees or certification. So they always have had means, incremental means of being adjusted. This group that is now waiting. That past group that was paid in July, and you hear the argument, oh, they make more. But that's not relevant to the overall scheme of things. They make more because of their posts, but their salaries have not been assessed in years.
Yeah.
They've never been able to enjoy an increase or a review of their salaries, and they are a smaller group. Now we address the thousands, the group that has been incrementally receiving some form of improved benefits. That's who we are now about to address.
Annually.
Yes.
I want to ask you now another bit of confusion, if you can sort of straighten this out. And again, I know this is a Ministry of Finance initiative, but the best as you can, please clarify some stuff for us. You saw on social media today, another vexing point for many people is that they were like, wait a minute, if the government is going to give the senior managers a year's worth of salary and back pay, why are we only getting 3 months?
Okay, so everybody is assessed based on the review. The review for that smaller group of senior management or mid-level was completed in September of 2024. However, they weren't paid until July, which is some 9 months later. So they were extremely delayed in receiving their compensation. This group, whose, if you would have seen the press release from the Ministry of Finance, the report for this group is just completed in September. So this is effective September 2025.
Yes.
They too will get retroactivity September, October, November, when they receive in December. But this is based on the fact that the senior manager's report was completed in September of 2024, and then processing and disbursement had to happen. This grouping, their report is completed in September of 2025. Processing and disbursement for thousands has to happen. And Shanique, I want to say this. I understand the disappointment. I understand the frustration that's been expressed by a number of public servants very vocally, particularly those who are eagerly anticipating this salary adjustment. Though they don't know what it may be, they're anticipating it. But it's important for me to emphasize that this process, though it is delayed, it's significant. It's significant. And many public servants appreciate that the magnitude of this is of what we're undertaking, and they understand the need for due diligence. This is a massive project of thousands of public servants that will be affected. However, it's equally true that many of them were understandably, as I heard said by a few, they was counting on this, and they was counting that money, and they were ready to do some things. Because they expected it to be executed this month, based on those prior announcements, as you would have alluded to. And their anticipation is absolutely valid. I don't take that away from them in any way. I acknowledge that wholeheartedly. But the reality is, Shanique, although the work to finalize this salary adjustment is complete on schedule, September, the execution phase is unfortunately slightly delayed, and that's how process works.
And that is a very important part to make sure you get right. You heard the union president.
We don't want to make any mistakes,
Right.
Shanique. This is slightly delayed because of process, and it has to be addressed thoroughly. It has to be addressed strategically, because we don't want it to then say, well, I ain't get mine and my coworker got hers. This is a massive undertaking, and this initiative is going to benefit thousands, not hundreds, thousands, Shanique, of public servants across the Bahamas, not in New Providence, across the nation. So it's not simply a pay increase. It's actually, and I say this with a happy heart, it's an historic step.
It is.
We've talked about it. This is an historic step to bring salaries in line with, yes, quasi-government corporations and regional counterparts. And this is a major advancement in terms of equity and dignity for our public service. And they know I fight for that for them. And the government, this government, well, yes, we're going to remain committed to ensuring that this rollout is handled responsibly. It's imperative that we get it right, not do it quickly, not be hasty, but to get it right. The government, we have expressed this. We are resolute in executing this. And you've heard me, this is not because honestly, election is coming the day after the election ends.
The thing is, people say this is an election ploy. Many of those who oppose your party says this is an election ploy. You all are just trying to score points. Is this something just to kind of make the people feel good? As I said, from 2022, this was discussed. I even heard it said this was a promise by the administration to try and right-size some of the public service salaries. And so can you speak to that?
Shanique, if we were to follow that logic, election would always be considered imminent from the day after the last election. That doesn't stop us from doing the work. This is something that you have heard me, the Prime Minister, many of our parliamentarians speak about in terms of providing better opportunities and benefits for public servants. And the reality is governance has to continue. It isn't based on the political calendar. Process has to take place. This initiative isn't driven by an election date. It's a fulfillment of what we call a commitment by this administration, the Davis administration, that we communicated from day one. We are on record from the outset. We committed to undertaking a comprehensive review of public service salaries. That is on record. And that goal came with ensuring fairness and equity and alignment and ensuring that we do what is right to deliver on the promise for our people. And it's about honoring the contributions of these public servants who have waited in the balance for, you said 16 years. Nobody thought in 16 years to access this review and to make sure that we were keeping, as in the private sector where there's a cost of living increase, what are we doing to keep our employees in the public service satisfied in that regard? Increments is one way that the government does that, but increments were canceled in the last administration. So this is that is an engagement of costs of living increase for public service that was taken away. But now we are improving. It's about ensuring that the people, the public servants, who I have the utmost respect and honor for, that they keep the machinery going and that we honor them day in and day out. by ensuring they're compensated fairly and they're and respectfully. And that's the motivation behind this initiative. It's nothing more and it's nothing less, Shanique. So we remain committed to that. We remain committed to the rollout. We will handle it responsibly. It's imperative to get it right. And
Yes.
that's important. And I thank public servants. I thank them for their patience.
I understand, Minister, as I have to wrap up, I understand that many government ministries today, because they were so angry, clocked in, turned around and left. You're hoping, obviously, that they do return to work tomorrow in good faith?
Absolutely. This is a goodwill gesture by your government in honor of what you are doing as public servants by serving our nation. We are going to continue the process and finalize this process so that you can get what you rightfully deserve.
Minister Pia Glover-Roll, Minister of the Public Service, speaking on that payout this evening here on Beyond the Headlines. Of course, you all know the story by now. It's been viral everywhere and discussed everywhere. Workers in the public service, especially the junior element of the public service, awaiting payment on September 1st and was told just over the weekend, I think it was, or late last week, that payment won't be coming until December. Of course, she brought some clarity to that. And we will continue to watch that, certainly, of course. But thank you very much, Minister Pia Glover-Roll, for joining us here on Beyond the Headlines. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, thank you. When we come back, the Hot Topics panel joins me, and they weigh in on all that happened and transpired over the last 24 hours. Beyond the Headlines is backward after this.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
Crack the code and win $1 million. Crack the code and win $1 million.
7 numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast, your million is waiting.
Crack that code, win $1 million clear.
Crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
Crack the code and win $1 million.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. One 15-minute interview for $500, or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you tuned in. Just got done with an interview with Minister of the Public Service, Pia Glover-Roll, speaking about that payment and the payment schedule and the fact that for the junior staff complement of the public service, the review conducted by an independent accounting firm only just got done this month. Therefore, it has to be delayed to December in order to allow for the proper, I guess, obviously assessing and just getting right who will get what. As Kingsley Ferguson said, who will get what, how much they will get, how they will get it, all the rest of that. Again, just to ensure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. Well, we're going to jump right in because I want to hear some insight, and I know that my panelists have been hearing this all day. It's been all over social media and various clips and everybody weighing in. And so I want to bring in now the panelists to the show. Good evening to all of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Beyond the Headlines contributors, Leslie Miller, Ellington Ferguson, Howard Johnson. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Muhammad. Certainly it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Good evening, everybody.
I think you are muted, Howard.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas.
Okay, gentlemen, let's just jump right in. There's a lot to get to as far as this is concerned. This has been viral all day. People have been discussing it. Workers have been angry. People having any number of responses to this. We just heard the minister talk about exactly how this was done. It was carefully done from the senior element who have already received their salary adjustments because of the salary review, and then now the junior element of the public service who the report has only just been submitted, and they will get their salary adjustments and based on that review in December. Your thoughts on just the response of the union, how this was played out? I mean, if all things being even and what we just were informed of by the minister, I don't know, it's just a big question mark somewhere.
Shanique, has the PLP been sloppy with their messaging? Hell yes. Have they been behind on the narrative of this whole situation? You bet they have. However, with that said, I think a lot of persons, especially persons in leadership, some of them, especially as relates to the union, I think the union is being a bit disingenuous. According to Ms. Glover-Roll, that they just had a meeting on last week where they were all briefed on this whole situation, and for the union to come and talk as if though they have no clue what's going on. Number one, it's not as though a union agreement have been breached or broken or whatever, violated. This is not a union agreement. This is the employer of these people that is deciding to make this adjustment to make sure these people are getting what is due to them, as they said, to bring it up to comparity as to what the others are getting, to make sure to close that gap. And so if they were in that meeting and they had these discussions, and Minister Glover-Roll talked about how there were follow-ups after the meeting, and here is a member of that union coming to the public as though they have no clue as to what's going on. He didn't even reference that they were in a meeting last week. I think that is very disingenuous of him to do that. Minister Glover-Roll spoke of the fact that because a lot of people are alluding, and I saw a lot of it on social media, that the persons on the senior management who got theirs got this a bigger part, because the fact is theirs was received or assessed last year, September. They never got it until this year, June, July. Okay? These lower management, junior management, have been assessed in September. They're not going to get it until December. people are saying, well, why they ain't getting a whole year? Do you want yours to go into next year as the upper management on doing? I think the Progressive Liberal Party done a poor job in giving clarity to their initial message, and a lot of people run with a lot of misinformation, and this good, which is supposed to be a good thing, is put egg on the face of the government.
Yes. Leslie, your thoughts?
You know, I got many calls today speaking with different persons and met a few at different ministries today that I went to. And the concern was you have the top tier in the ministry, which is the higher public servants, the PSs. I wasn't aware of this study being done, as was spoken to by the minister. Then you had the middle management that was also done. Mm-hmm. They were taken care of. And of course, the junior persons at the bottom tier. Their question is, to me all day, why can't they get the same consideration as those who got it? Now, I was ignorant of the fact that theirs was done a year ago, mm-hmm. and it came into effect. Theirs has just been completed. The question is, what should you do? The junior staff makes up about 65% of the government ministries and corporations. And the disparity between the corporations and the government ministries is so great that it leaves so much to be desired. Mm-hmm. You know, a person who may not have a degree, if they can get into a corporation or government entity, they'll go there tomorrow because they're going to get a higher salary. I mean, I can give an example from when I was at BEC. Hell, the lady who was cleaning the offices and thing was at $400 a week. The public service is at $210.
Wow.
I mean, that's a discrepancy.
That's a huge disparity.
It's really disgraceful.
It's
Yeah.
But you realize you got to appreciate the history of this thing. The unions got what they got. Patelco, Water and Sewage, and BTC, because they combined their efforts together. Remember, they came at one time on the government, on all governments, PLP and F&M. And they would say, this is what we want. Mm-hmm. And if you don't cater to them, your light go off, mm-hmm. your water go off, and your phone go off. So they were able ready to put a stranglehold on the country for the last 50 years mm-hmm. by demanding, not even considering that their counterparts, my wife or my son, my sister or brother, who works in the regular public service, my salary is double theirs, but the hell with them. I get what I want to get when I want it. And voicing that with election on the horizon, what's the union's going to do? But I agreed with Ferguson totally that for one of the president of one of the organizations to come on television and just boldly live. And when I say live, I don't tell them the truth. Never indicated that they had a meeting with Mr. Alquitas last week. I'm sure Mike could have discussed this with them thoroughly. Say, here's the report, independent report. Here's what they recommend. This is what we're going to do. We did it for them. We'll do it for you all. Never indicated that. So they create this false impression. And what always bothered me in the public service and these union members, they're basically looking for themselves. And they will sell those union people out because most of them does not have the authority or the wherewithal to tell their voters tell their membership how to vote. And that's the great mistake that the government always make, believing that John or Paul, who runs a union, has so much say that he can tell them, if you don't give me what I want, we will strike. I think everybody, cool heads, got to just calm down and let the minister and those do what they have to do. Let Simon Wilson do what he has to do to keep things in check. And as one old lady told me, this was Mr. Miller, but the money coming. The money ain't going to be good Christmas Day. It's got to be good now, so I wish they gave it to me. I couldn't agree with you.
I think the good news is, Howard, this is the best news there is. Whether they be the junior staff or the senior staff who went even longer without a salary review, everyone by the end of this year will be smiling because they'll be making more money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Shanique. And see, the thing is, somebody got to be first, right? Yeah. If the junior staff had gone first, then maybe some of the senior staff would have said they gone first, and we didn't get to go first. Government is about making choices, and sometimes those choices are tough. I'll tell you, like I said last week, I commend the government for taking on some of these legacy issues. I believe it is between 14 and 16 years that something of this nature as it's the last time that something of this nature has been done in the Bahamas. And the government must be commended for taking on the tough tasks and the tough jobs of doing these legacy things and trying to fill these legacy voids. Do you know how much in money has been inflated in the last 14 to 16 years?
Yep.
Do you know how many increments would be necessary to have people up with a living wage right now in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? These are the big issues that the government is tackling. Now, I agree with Ellington. It was not perfect. It was not perfect, and I'm so glad that the minister had the opportunity to come on tonight to clarify some of those things, because I felt that the remarks that she made in the press were kind of a little weak compared to the gusto that she showed in June, I believe, in the House of Assembly when she confidently said that this was going to happen in September. Now, listen, Shanique, I think the only thing that, while praising the government, the only criticism that I saw that was a theme today throughout social media was this. They said on social media, well, the government is always traveling. You know, they always 30 and 40 deep, and we can't get our money. Well, that's something that the PLP as a party has to look at. It's serious because people were talking about it, right? So if we are in Africa and we feeding the rhinoceros and we taking pictures between two giraffes, and we can't see the bilateral trade benefit or the economic impact coming out of these trips, people are going to get upset. And then it's going to be magnified by the opposition, and rightly so, because it's election time, and the Lord knows the F&M needs a win. Because from what I've been seeing in the news as of late, they haven't been doing well as far as candidates roll out and some of the drama that's been going on in their party. So they're pouncing on this, and they should pounce on this because they ain't had much wins lately. But I must caution them. I must caution them because the cries of electioneering that they're talking about, it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because the F&M has done it. If they are accusing the PLP of giving pay raises or hiring and doing these things, it cuts across all governments. So let's stop playing games, okay? Let's stop using this. If you're going to criticize the government on some substantive issues, because I call this ping pong politics with the opposition criticizing the government right now. You want to know what I mean by that? It's ping pong, because if the roles were absolutely reversed, they would want no one saying anything right now about what is going on if the ball was in their court and they were the government. Let's get serious in this country about what we need to do. And one last thing, Shanique, I want to address the people of the Bahamas. I want to address the people of the Bahamas from my personal finance expert and financial literacy hat. You see, we in the Bahamas so like to do things that's convenient for us. I thought nobody trusted politicians. I thought politicians had a bad reputation. Now everybody is holding Pia Glover and the PLP government to account, and they should. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but I'm tongue-in-cheek saying, right, you could always find anyone on the street talking about how they don't trust what a politician says, how they don't trust what the government says. But you are holding fast and steady to this promise that you get your money in September. Well, let me tell you, Bahamian people, and I'm saying this criticism with love. You need to manage what you have. Don't count the bird in the bush. You only get the bird in the hand. And you have to manage your finances better. If you don't have your salary increase yet, manage your finances better. Manage what you have, and when the bonus comes, thank God for that. But you cannot count. I've seen them on social media say, we should have get this in June, July, and August.
And time for school.
Listen, if they had gotten it in June, July, and August, some of them still wouldn't have gotten what they need. Some of them still would have been broke now, and the salary increase would not have made a difference because they still would be struggling. Manage what you have now, my brothers and sisters, and I'm saying that with love.
And I think what we also need to understand is that the government national budget, the salaries for government workers, constitute 60% of the budget. The budget really is their budget. You know, that's a hell of a lot of money that goes into the emoluments of those who work for and on behalf of the people through the government agencies and ministries.
Absolutely. Again, the good news is this. beyond any union agreements and annual increments and all that, here's this unexpected salary review done independently by an accounting firm that says
with no pressure,
with no pressure, not expected, that says people in the senior ranks, the middle management, as well as the junior line staff will be getting salary adjustments at different times.
Which is a wonderful thing.
It's an amazing thing. Listen, it's an amazing thing. That is the wonderful thing to hold on to, because you will be getting extra money on your salary. Now, what you do with it, as Howard Johnson said, is the most important thing.
And bear in mind too, that the corporations provide overtime, whereas the government ministries don't. So they make more so than the average behemoth that works for the government.
Yes.
Those who work for corporations. I guys from BEC, overtime used to be in excess of $60,000 a year.
Oh no, they used to make a ton of money.
I'm
Perhaps still do.
$60,000 a year.
Gentlemen, I thank you all so much, Howard. I thank you for joining us in this segment. It's always good to hear your input and your voice as one of two. You and Leslie, the political heads here. Of course, Leslie is a veteran politician on this panel, and I'm grateful for him as well. But thank you for joining us this evening. Don't go anywhere, because Beyond the Headlines comes right back. When we come back, you're going to hear about a school-age boy who was hit in the head by one of his peers. Tonight, his mother is speaking out.
The Bahamas is the premier destination for fly fishing because of its unique geography.
We've got the third largest barrier reef in the world in the Bahamas.
We have the largest aggregation of mangroves in the Western Hemisphere.
Which simply means we've got the largest marine biodiversity than anywhere else in the world.
I am unapologetic about Bahamians being owners in our #1 industry.
We should not just say, we should have it enacted into certain policies.
The Bahamas Fly Fishing Industry Association was instrumental in the 2017 sports fishing legislation. Anyone fishing in the Bahamas who's going to be guiding has to be certified and licensed, and thirdly, they have to be a Bahamian.
And that is historic, in that a model of conservation and a model for Bahamianization has been legislated, the only one in the country.
But it also gives Bahamians the opportunity, with a sense of pride, to know that at the end of the day, I'm contributing to the development of my country and something they can pass on for generations.
The out island of Bahamas, there are no other alternative industry that generates the kind of revenue that fly fishing does. The entire community benefits.
I would always encourage the tourists, people who want to fish, hire a local guide.
The guides in the Bahamas are some of the best trained fly fishing guides in the world. You know it because you see the results in terms of the kinds of fishing they're doing. They're catching the largest bonefish, the largest tarpon, largest permit. That is unique. So this is the lure to all the anglers internationally coming who thinks of the Bahamas as #1 destination for fly fishing and saltwater.
I'm really excited about this initiative that SPTC has brought forth for the fishermen.
If you have great guides and terrible boats and engines and nothing working and all this, you could be the best in the world. And people still have a terrible experience because they could not have a good day on the water.
I think one of the greatest things is to have access to quality capital, but not only having access to the capital, but terms and conditions to the capital, so we encourage growth and expansion of the industry and professionalism within the industry because of the resources being at hand and having proper guidance.
It'll be a greater impact and they'll have a better experience.
And I foresee it being an opportunity that the guides are taking advantage of in terms of the opportunities for education, awareness, and resources. You always need to advise people, inform them, and then equip them. And so I think this process is essential because it allows those skill sets that are needed in a changing economy and environment, how they could then keep up with operating their small business.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience, with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, The possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. One 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Of course, I'm looking forward to welcoming all of you. If you have a business, an event, whatever product it is that you would like to get to the masses, certainly, of course, join me here on Beyond the Headlines. Give our sales and marketing team a call. We are so happy to welcome you. And so come on, be a part of the family. And also in this political season, this is the spot. We are going to be working on a new segment strictly for politics. I mean, we discuss politics, as you all know, but this segment is going to be super exciting. It's going to debut in October. And so certainly, of course, all the political groups, whether you be independent or belonging to some political organization, come on board. Absolutely get your message out there, be seen, and have the Bahamian people hear what your views and your plans are for their constituency. Again, give the sales and marketing team a call and let's get you on board. Well, a schoolboy was violently struck in the head, allegedly by one of his peers, while on his way home from school. Tonight, his mother is now demanding justice and urgent measures to prevent such attacks from happening again in our schools. Here's Linton Ritchie Jr.
A violent attack caught on closed-circuit television footage as a 12th grade student was just steps away from his home when the unthinkable happened. He was struck over the head with an object resembling a steel pole, his culprit fleeing on foot. Cameras at a nearby business establishment shows the young boy walking with a hoodie over his head on the rainy afternoon, and just seconds later, you see another individual dressed in uniform creeping behind him before jumping and hitting the victim in the back of his head. The young man and his mother, Shaniqua Hannah, sitting with Eyewitness News, struggling to come to terms with Thursday's incident, leaving behind countless visits to the doctors and authorities, also leaving him out of school.
It's kind of like a sinister move. This young man has another intention.
What I went through was traumatic because I don't do that to no one.
According to the victim, him and the alleged assailant had never interacted before until an exchange Thursday morning at school, where he says his attacker reportedly attempted to skip him in line, to which he refused and was then shoved. But he says he and the other individual spoke with the principal and shook hands, in his view, ending the dispute.
I felt humiliated. I felt angry. I'm the type of person who just go there and bother with people.
Now, safety was never a concern for the young man as he frequented this pathway to get to and from school, sometimes even at night after work. But since the unannounced ambush, he says his safety now hangs in limbo.
That just basically made me more traumatized. He won't walk to the shop now because who knows if he have more persons out there, like, you know how gangs is.
But the fare has not only burdened the school-age boy, his mother emphasizing what was routine has to now be adjusted.
I can't drop him to school every morning. I can't take him to pick him up every day. But, you know, that's not a good feeling when your child is feeling unsafe.
Hannah says while the incident has left her distraught, it puts into perspective the dire need of conflict resolution skills for young men across the country.
They're getting ready to come out of school. So my concern is this the mindset that's going to come out next year? If this is how you're thinking, this is how you're going to be when you come out in the real world, then you're not going to survive that.
A police report has been filed and the young man responsible was reportedly taken into custody. However, it's unknown on whether he's been released or not. The family says authorities have ordered them to stand by until a court date is given. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Well, it's good to hear that he was taken into custody, Ellington and Leslie, the guy that we saw there on the camera, the 12th grader who went and hit the other one with a steel object in the head. I say he's an adult. I mean, we've got to start cloaking these underage kids and saying that they're kids. No, when you do adult crimes, you do adult time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think we really need to look at our penal code, Shanique, as we deal with these things. And you don't need to be in society. That's an animal action. You don't need to be in society. Take him, educate him, put him somewhere else, secluded away from society, give him the education. Hopefully he can be reformed and at some point later on re-enter society. But that's an animal instinct, and we should be able to deal with that severely.
You know, I just trust that all is well with him physically, and this precious mummy who came on to, you know, indicate what happened. She's very brave to come forward to do that. But this cowardice situation that took place, hitting a young fellow over his head from the back, not even conscious of the fact that someone is coming to hurt him to defend himself. And what is going to happen to this guy? He's going to go to school now next week and get a week off or what? I mean, the penalty got to suit the crime. And that could be construed to be attempted murder.
Absolutely.
Because the young boy could have been dead, depending on where he hit him on his head. He could have fell and died right there on the spot. We have to do better than this, man. And these parents got to scold these children. And the persons who are responsible that government has hired around these schools got to see to that when these infractions happen in the school, they don't get out of school yet and go on the streets, which is likely to have been the case. You know, and these little fellas got to make it to the real world, man. I agree with you. If he did the crime, then you got to pay the time.
He should never be allowed in a school population.
No, he should be expelled.
Should not be allowed in school.
Absolutely,
he should be the boys' reform school.
Should
be. Should be.
Let him finish
go there for a couple of years.
Gentlemen, listen to this. Here's somebody who perhaps
the boys
who should be also locked away for quite some time.
Reformatory school.
No, that's too much. Listen, that's another extra bill we got to pay. No, anyways, a man was remanded to prison on Friday following allegations that he exposed himself and then robbed the woman he exposed himself to here in the capital last week. Police say the 37-year-old man, Dentry Miller, flashed Angela Glinton and then stole $10 from her last week.
He's a cheap thief, put it over, you know.
Sick. That is
psycho.
Miller has pleaded not guilty to charges of stealing and grossly indecent conduct before Magistrate Abigail Farrington, not laughing at this incident, by the way. Assistant Superintendent of Police Kay Bould, acting as the prosecutor, opposed bail, citing Miller's prior convictions for similar offenses. In fact, Miller was previously charged with indecent assault after allegedly touching the legs of a 10-year-old girl on December 14th, 2024. Miller will remain in custody at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services until his next court appearance on September 23rd. Gentlemen, your response to this. Here's another idiot who obviously don't value his freedom.
Sinead, again, we need to revisit our penal code. I think you do this once, whatever the time is, fine, you do that time. You come back and you do this. This is less than a year later. He just did this in 2024, they said. I think you should be put away from society a long time while we have psychiatrists try to work with you over the next 15, 20 years to see if it's any possible of you coming back into society. I think people of this are sick, they're mentally ill or whatever, and really need to be put away from society and try to see if we can rehabilitate them.
Persons like him should be put off the street. I saw in the papers also, this pastor, 53 years old, apparently raped a 10-year-old. What's going on in the country, man? Huh? We're going straight to hell now. It's got to stop. We could do better than this, man. You know, you go to church and the pastor fooling around with your little daughter or something.
The devil is on the loose.
And that's who can take you to heaven? I don't get it, man.
You have to go to heaven for yourself.
Huh? You better.
Yes, absolutely.
Because brothers like him, even they can see God's shadow, much less his face. You get it right about that. Oh, we're telling him, I say, Chief, I got it. Where you guys, huh? You know, you got to be joking.
Listen, gentlemen, I thank you all so much. Wouldn't see God's shadow. Listen, you better seek God for yourself. You understand? Pasta. What is that? You having tomato sauce with that pasta? Listen, I thank you both very, very much. Of course, at the top of tonight's show, the Minister of Public Service, Pia Glover joined us and spoke, of course, on that matter with the whole public service salary review. She brought some light to it and further clarification. Thank you very much, Minister Glover. Of course, at the second segment, we had Howard Johnson join this Hot Topics panel, and so I thank him for tuning in. Then, of course, Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, I thank you both as well. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out this evening. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.